Hi folks, and welcome to today's video, Herniated Disc Recovery, Who to Believe. Now, before we get into today's video, please understand if you're out there suffering with low back pain issues such as sciatica nerve pain, herniated discs, bulging discs, lumbar stenosis, lumbar arthritis, then keep watching this channel. Subscribe to this channel. I make a lot of great content for those folks suffering with those problems to get back on the road to pain-free recovery, okay? So, if you are one of those sufferers, hit that subscribe button, keep watching, and you're updated with fantastic content. In the meantime, let's get into today's video. Hi folks, so welcome to today's video on herniated disc recovery, and who is correct, who is right, who to follow when it comes to that journey, because there's a lot of information on the internet, especially on YouTube, and this is not meant to be a controversial video. I'm not going to call out any of those guys you may have seen on the thumbnail. I want to put some point across about there is no such thing as a bad exercise, only bad application, and the recovery process is very often very independent, okay? There's many things I'm going to come on to, but first let me say, I myself, I do look at YouTube, okay? I'm a YouTube user, as well as obviously a YouTube teacher in that respect, with recovery from herniated bulging discs. But all those people that I listed up on there, on the thumbnail, okay, they all create fantastic content, very knowledgeable, you know, great credentials. Some of them have been through various injuries, back pain, one of them, you know, with herniated discs, ruptured discs, etc. And they produce a lot of good content. But you as the viewer, I often get asked, Colin, I've watched, you know, lots and lots of videos, including yours, and I'm confused because one person says this, the next person says this, the next person says this, you know, where do I do? And they get almost like analysis, you know, paralysis, and they end up, you know, trying something, getting hurt, not doing that thing again, and it's just a vicious cycle. I just did a call with a client, with a free call person just the other week, and this was her issue. She said, like, I would try these different things, and you know, I would get hurt, and I watch this person's video. Look, as I just said at the start, there is no such thing as a bad exercise. Okay, it's all about bad and applicable application. So, for example, if you know, we use the bird dog, for example, okay, the bird dog is the mainstay of most low back pain hernia disc rehabilitation plans, all right? There's been various papers published. I've got quite a few in my collection, not published myself, but ones I refer to, and there has been a sort of well-written protocol for herniated disc recovery, okay, and it's a kind of structured plan that you follow, like a lot of lumbosacral stability, core work, get them walking, this is the patients, move through progressive exercises to get them stronger over time, and you'll get them back to either playing their sport or their daily activities. And at each stage, you use a certain exercise. Now, if we take something like the bird dog, okay, so bird dog, and I'm just going to go through the classic. So you start in this position here. We're going to do left arm, right leg. So it comes out like this, okay, here, and bring it back in with control here. Now, if somebody is just starting out on their journey from a herniated disc, perhaps they've had to wait 4-6 weeks before starting their rehabilitation, perhaps they weren't an active person beforehand, doing this exercise may actually be too much for them. Okay, they might be, oh, unstable, they can't hold it, right? So as a therapist, you have to be able to adapt the exercise, right? Maybe you just do legs only, okay? Maybe you just do arms only. You also have to be very conscious of the low back position. If the person suffers from stenosis, generally with stenosis, or they've got some sort of facet joint issue, if you go into overextension, you're going to get pain. So you've got to make sure that the spine is not in overextension, it's in neutral position. So you may need to go into this position, find your neutral position here for me, and then do the exercise, okay? Now, you yourself, when you're at home, you will jump into the sort of exercises that you see and assume this is going to do you good, right? But you must understand to learn pain signals. And one of the things I push across with all my clients is especially with the free advice call, is I will start you with the bare minimum exercise intensity, frequency, because I want them to get through a pain-free session. Okay, so a lot of people, they will start, that I work with, they will start with bird dogs legs only. Okay, because it's much easier to move somebody up, progress somebody up, okay, when they've not been injured. So you do an exercise, yeah, Colin, I felt okay, it was quite easy. Okay, next week we will add in the arms, right? And you progress that way. Then at the outset, they do the exercise, break themselves down immediately, boom, pain response, takes a week to recover, so you've lost a week of recovery. If I can start you at the real base level, okay, achieve 5, 6, 7 exercises in a workout a couple of times a week, have no pain, but feel better, then that's much easier for me to build upon as the weeks go on, okay? So when you're at home and you're watching these videos from a lot of these, great physios, great rehabilitation specialists, chiros, etc., be conscious that you may want to start a few steps down, okay, from the exercise they show, all right? So as I said, the bird dog's a great example. You may want to start with your legs only, just the hands only. Just the arms only. Now, there's another very important point. Again, I talk about it in another video, is the speed and the speed of lifting, of moving, right? So if we go back to the bird dog, this is very, very common. I see this a lot in the videos when I critique client videos. So if I'm doing, let's do bird dog legs only, okay? So I'm here, neutral spine, we use the left leg's pushing out, okay, I'm extending it backwards, and I'm coming in, okay? So I'm going out about 1, 2, 3, and maybe 1, 2 back. You'll see people going, right, just momentum. There's no spinal stability, no sacral stability, because they don't understand the importance of that slow contraction, that slow movement, especially in rehabilitation. Like, momentum in sport is a very valid, it's a very useful thing when it comes to trying to hurl a projectile, throw, kick a ball, whatever, at high speed, okay? However, when it comes to rehabilitation, we want to limit momentum because we want to consciously activate, keep those muscles under tension as we do the exercise, okay? To get that mind-muscle connection you may have heard about, to help stabilize the spine, improve the rigidity of the spine, enhance the muscle activation of that area to help stabilize the spine and take some of the stress off your discs and relieve the pain, okay? So the tempo is super, super important, as is modifying the exercise, okay? So as I said, you might be watching all these guys, including myself, and you take this exercise here and this caused me pain, but he told me to keep going. Very often we don't know your individual case, so we have to use a general rule of thumb when it comes to the literature. What are the activities, movements, etc., which more than 80% of the time bring relief for that person. Another good example, okay, is the classic kind of glute stretch that people often get recommended, where you put ankle across knee. This is usually for sciatica nerve relief, okay? Now the premise behind this is the sciatica nerve runs under your glute muscles. If you've sat a lot, maybe you've done some sort of activity, glute muscle gets tight, compresses the nerve, okay? It's already irritated by your herniated bulging disc, then the pain will increase. So we try to stretch off the tissue around the nerve, let the nerve move more freely, okay? And that hopefully will relieve some of the pain. So you typically go into this position here, and you'll stretch, okay? You'll pull this knee, my left knee up here towards my right shoulder or my left shoulder, and I'm trying to get that stretch on the left glute, okay? Now for some people though, as soon as I kind of put this here and put this here, they get tension on the nerve, they actually get pain, okay? So if that happens to you, if it makes the pain worse, then you don't want to keep doing this exercise. You want to change it. Perhaps, you want to do like the figure 4 kind of pigeon stretch. Perhaps you'll be better off doing a sort of glute med, more of a gentle stretch in towards the chest this way, slightly different angle. Perhaps you're better off actually avoiding the glute stretch and doing more hip flexor work. So you're into here, okay? So if you follow somebody's video on YouTube and you get an uptick in pain response, it doesn't mean that person's not knowledgeable. It doesn't mean those exercises are bad. It just means they're not right for you at this particular situation in your journey, okay? So as I said, these guys are, you know, great practitioners, a lot of great knowledge, good credentials. They are putting out stuff there to help, you know, the whole population as a whole. Like I always say myself, look, I cannot help 100% of the people 100% of the time, all right? And as a good rule of thumb, if you are undergoing physiotherapy, osteopathy, chiropractic adjustments, you're going for different therapies, whatever it could be, I used to tell most people, if you don't start to feel some significant good relief in the first 8 to 12 sessions, then that modality is probably not for you. It is time for you to find something else, okay? Because everybody's body will react differently to certain things, right? And, you know, the therapist has to be flexible. With modern most therapies, you will have a clinic. It will be a chiropractic clinic. It will be an osteopathic clinic. It will be a physiotherapy clinic. It will be a acupuncture clinic. And within there, they will do certain things and only those things, right? They can't do everything because it's a lot of money to invest in equipment, materials, training, certificates, etc., etc. So, you know, for a rule of thumb, if you're going to some sort of practitioner and you're not seeing any major relief in that first 8 to 12 sessions, then maybe have a chat with them and say, look, I just don't feel this is working for me. I want to try something else, okay? As I said, most activities, myself included, when I give people some free advice, I say, look, you should start to feel better within 10 to 12 days. If it's not working, then I would, you know, suggest that you seek a different solution, okay? Now, another thing that people often say, look, I'm getting totally confused here, is with the use of flexion of the spine. So when you want to work the muscles in your lower back, you're very often encouraged to do sort of hip hinging motions. So if I stand up, I'm out of shot here, but basically if I was standing, okay, this would be a hip hinging motion like so, right? Now, if I'm doing what's called a Romanian deadlift, if I was standing up here and I have weights in front of me and I'm pushing back like that on my hips and coming forward, I'm working hamstrings, glutes, and my lower back, okay? Now, that force on your lower back when you have a current disc herniation, disc bulge, would be classed as excessive. So that exercise would not be applicable for you at that time, okay? And again, if you watch, you know, certain people's videos, they talk about strengthening your back and stuff and getting your back more resilient, and they will always put in this little comment saying, hey, this is for when you're past the rehab stage, you know, you're past the acute pain stage, you know, you've been given the go-ahead by your doctor. There is no way, if you've just been diagnosed, you've had an injury, you've just been diagnosed, got the MRI, you've got a bulging or a, you know, severe herniated disc sequestration, protrusion, extrusion, whatever, super high pain in your sciatic nerve, you're not going to be doing loaded movements like this, okay, like a good morning or a Romanian deadlift. It's just, you're going to not kill yourself, but you're going to make yourself a lot worse, okay? So understand the context that a lot of these videos are aimed at different people in their different stages of recovery, okay? And I'll repeat again, there is no such thing as a bad exercise, only bad application. There are certain exercises that athletes will do for a particular sport that the average person would get hurt with or would not be advised for the average person, but because of the requirements of that person's sport or activity, they have to get the body used to that tolerance, okay? Now, let me just go back a bit. Okay, I'm going to finish with this. Is about tissue tolerance and basically cumulative load. So when you're recovering, okay, and you start with, say, the basics of the, you know, bird dog legs only or bird dog arms only, if you stick with that level, right, you'll get better up to a point, but then you have to increase the load, increase the tolerance on the body. How do you do that? You make the exercise harder. So maybe you start just with the arms bird dog, then you move to just legs, then you move to both. Then in some cases you can actually hold a small weight in your hand, or even some people have a small band, okay, and they put the band around the foot and the hand here, and they're basically stretching out the band, okay, and back, like so. You have to increase the load on the body as you do the exercises, because that's going to force the body to adapt, the tissues to adapt and become stronger, more resilient, more stable, more able to hold you in certain postures without stressing the discs or the spinal problems, okay? I do apologize for some of the background noises here. I'm filming outside today, so I'll just wait till that guy leaves. The joys of filming outside. So please understand that when, again, a lot of these guys' videos, like, which one do you listen to? They're all great exercises. They all have their place in your recovery journey, okay? But you as the viewer, you may want to adapt them and make them a bit easier for you to start, depending where you are on your recovery journey. You want to be able to do them pain-free, okay? When I say pain-free, it's okay if the next day or later that day you have a little uptick in pain, but then the third day, the pain should start to come back down. That is a very normal reaction to any exercise, okay? You do that particular exercise for 4, maybe 6 weeks, and then you want to make it a little bit harder. That will ensure that your body is getting stronger and adapting to those exercises. So maybe the exercise you're watching the video, it's not for you right now. You have to bring it back 2 or 3 steps, and then you can work your way up, okay? So guys, this video is not meant to be controversial. I'm not calling these people out. I'm just trying to help you, the viewer, understand that those exercises are all applicable to different stages of your recovery, okay? So guys, listen, I hope this video has brought some clarity to that question that I asked. I know people often ask online as well. If you've got any questions or comments on it, please comment down below. Don't forget, of course, to like, okay, help the algorithm get my video up in views to help other people as well. Please subscribe if you've not subscribed already, and I will talk to you next time. Have a great day.